Hello, my name is George Gatesy. I am co-founder and lead programmer of BattleGoat Studios.
Hello, my name is Sean. I'm an intern / game designer here at BattleGoat Studios.
How much wood would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood?
They don't do that anymore.
How did you actually get your start here at BattleGoat?
How did I get my start at BattleGoat? I applied to be an intern. I spoke with Chris, the project manager here, and I kind of laid in the groundwork of my skills and attributes, and he seemed to think that I would be a good fit.
How did you get into video game development?
Oh, well, I mean, multiple different reasons. Some I would say passion-wise, some I would say monetarily. I mean, it's a gigantic industry, and with technology, the rapid acceleration of technology, I've decided that, it would be a great industry to jump into. It seems really, I'm not sure if it's peaked. I would hesitate to say that, but it's definitely getting to like a crescendo where the market is saturated, but there's so many options for people to make their own game. Like examples like Stardew Valley or something where one person makes a game that becomes wildly successful. And I thought, to get my foot in the door in the industry would be a good way to sort of take what I know about even just math and logic, and applying that to sort of an artistic front, as opposed to just being in the background doing statistics, logistics. Making something happen from numbers is an exciting platform that I was hoping to get into.
Sean, what kind of games do you play in your downtime?
Currently, the games I'm currently playing would mostly be about strategy, MOBAs such as League of Legends. But mostly I play multiplayer games, simply because I feel that outsmarting or out-strategizing a real human is much more satisfying than doing it to an artificial intelligence. I like playing Civilization. It's a long-standing series. In terms of RTS, XCOM, which is another great game. Similar to that, maybe even like Mario, the Mario Rabbids game, which has recently came out last year. And other than that, pretty much anything that involves like Stellaris or anything that involves turn-based combat.
What sort of games do I play outside of the working environment? Well, there's the ever popular cut across 4 lanes of traffic on the way home game. That's a particularly popular one. I have managed not to crash into anything yet. There's what other games? Outside of work.
So you have in your Steam library.
There's the pick up Eric in the morning and see how long he's going to keep me waiting game.
Oh no.
Each day it's a random number, and sometimes you would put, you'd bet it might take longer and he's ready, but some days you think he's going to be ready and it takes longer. So it's always exciting to see what the results will be.
As a game, man.
Well, sometimes the bar for games, you can make a game out of anything.
Wow. Okay, roasted. So what exactly do you do here at BattleGoat?
So what do I do at BattleGoat? I am lead programmer, which means I do most of the coding of our BattleGoat engine, which is what we have used for our past and upcoming future games. I also do a lot of our back-end support, so things like our design of our file formats, a design of some of the mod tools and things like that. So just generally a lot of stuff and anything else that I can't find somebody else to do.
Being an intern, I mainly do things that other people maybe find a little bit less, more tedious, but I like to do, or am tasked with doing QA stuff, quality assurance. The users and the community have a really strong opinion about things. So I like to scan the forums, scan the Steam forums to check to see what issues they're having and hopefully try to resolve them. Even going far back, even years in the past, things that maybe have been overlooked. But other than that, I have been spending a lot of time developing new scenarios and events for the upcoming, patch to Supreme Ruler Ultimate. Putting together Battle Russia was interesting. Chris came forward and asked me to create a scenario in which Russia had been sort of broken up into many pieces. And so, not really knowing much about Russia, besides the fact that it's full of Twitter bots, I decided to do a lot of research into the politics and mechanics of how Russia really works, some things I had no idea about. And it was interesting to see how those things would play out if it was sectioned off into different states, as opposed to being one gigantic nation. But besides that, it was sort of a long process having to put together or trying to think of the ways that the rest of the world would interact with these divided nations had they been separated.
What are the steps to actually creating a scenario like that?
Well, it first starts off with research. You have to really find out how things would work, like I said, in the greater scheme of things. But next is establishing the relationships between all the different nations, both on a political sense and a social sense. And then maybe even it would be about future planning, thinking, okay, if this nation doesn't like this nation, then how would that play out, 20, 30 years from the start date of the game? In terms of actually physically making Battle of Russia, I did a lot of editing within the region include file to ensure that there were different regions, new regions for the new nations of Russia. I also took a deep dive into the CSV file to ensure that all the events that were occurring were properly timed, that the regions that they occurred within were properly marked. We kind of took the ORBATs, the .oob files, mainly from Shattered World, and we kind of just mixed them into the Shattered Russia scenario, taking what was already there and kind of making it more viable for the player to actually use. Besides that, it was mainly just sort of digging right into the event, back end and really, or front end I guess, and really kind of just making things happen that would get the player interested playing throughout the entire situation. Maybe things that they didn't even think about in terms of nation relations and the ways that they interact with each other.
So you've been a game developer for a while now. How has working on game engines changed in the past few years or throughout your career?
Well, certainly one of the things that has made game engine development more interesting and more complex is with additional memory, additional capabilities of computers, but also more demands from players, for larger maps, for more players playing at once, for more data, for more sandboxes, more options, and so on. It's made things a lot more complex. One thing here at BattleGoat, we aren't known for example, for having leading-edge graphics or sound, but we put a lot of our effort into the gameplay. The fact that, for example, our AI doesn't cheat, and we use multi-thread capabilities to make the gameplay fast. We use a lot of advanced techniques so that our games and our game engine is capable of supporting very complex maps, very complex strategy scenarios, and the modern world basically. So BattleGoat's always decided to make, our motto has always been intelligent strategy games, and one of the things, for myself and the BattleGoat's co-founder David Thompson, that has always been our personal style of gaming that we're most interested in. Over the years, we've always looked at things that could be more profitable but not as interesting for us personally to build, but we've always decided that a complex and sophisticated strategy game has been what we wanted to do, and I think we do that type of game very well. We have a lot of fans, a lot of players that have been supporting us throughout all the years, and that's really been what's motivated us to keep developing, to keep updating, and to keep making this type of strategy game.
Which area of coding is your most favorite? Which area is your least favorite coding?
Coding, what's my favorite and least favorite? Well, certainly working on AI, working on some of the things like that is particularly interesting because it's always been a very complex and probably underappreciated part of the BattleGoat engine. Among other things, our AI does a lot more things than players even are aware of or get credit for. Sometimes, it processes, thousands of things to make one decision, and then players just think it did something randomly. And so, but I'm pretty proud of that area. Oddly enough, multiplayer is also interesting because it's a challenge to work on, so that's more of a programming challenge. And graphics is horrible. It's all 3D and X and Y's and Z's and zooms and camera things, and that's all horrible. How can people think in 3 dimensions? I don't even understand how 3 dimensions even work sometimes. It's very confusing.
So aside from working here at BattleGoat, what is it that you do?
Well, I do a lot of different things in the community. I also am a part-time instructor at Mohawk College during the fall and winter semesters. So I teach programming and some system security and stuff like that, and which is also a very interesting thing to do to try to share some of the knowledge and the experience that I picked up over the years. What advice would I have for programmers getting into game design? Well, definitely get involved in the industry. Just roll up your sleeves and start writing stuff. I mean, certainly, the original Supreme Ruler was written by myself when I was in high school, and it was a text-based game, but it was something that was done by without a future in sight. So certainly, I didn't expect that many years later we'd still be doing Supreme Ruler in different versions with fancier graphics and fancier gameplay, but still taking over the world. So it's just a matter of start doing things that you're interested in, start doing things that catch your attention, and with a little bit of luck, that passion can pay off and actually result in a career, or at least something that will generate some livelihood. Flappy Bird is another option, I suppose. Hi, community. The main thing I'd like to say to anybody watching and to our entire community is to thanks for all the support for all the years. It's been really, our community and our fans have really been what's made us continue to develop our product and makes us support it with the updates and the new content that we do. Not just the existing community that keeps supporting our games and supporting us, new players that come on board every day, supporting us on Steam and buying our game, and that's really what keeps us going to make more content and make more games.
Keep giving us feedback. I mean, you can find us on all sorts of channels, bgforums.com, the Steam forums. You can also check us out on Discord. We have an official BattleGoat server, which we're constantly looking at every single one of these channels, like Twitter as well, Facebook, looking for feedback, and we respond to the feedback quite rapidly. I mean, you're looking to get a response within the day or 2 days after posting something, so check us out on all these channels and enjoy the game.